The India trip was kind of interesting. I was at a show in Chicago, and Ajit, the owner of the company we used, was there with a booth. And I had walked by and I said, Ajit, I just introduced myself, and he said, and we started talking, he says, you know, you should come to India and paddle. And I said, well, what do you mean paddle in India? Because I had never been there. And he said, paddle the Ganges. And I said, the Ganges? Isn't that a big dirty river? He says, no, where we go, it's clean. And we kind of kidded back and forth for a while, and but then it kind of got my curiosity up, you know.
Whatever.
I'd only taken a little dog into the park the first time, so when I did the first trip, I wasn't really expecting to see all that wildlife, but to see Asian elephants and barking deer, and there was 2 or 3 other kinds of deer there. And then we saw that huge tiger print in the sand on the tracks in front of us, the vehicle in front of us, that big tiger track. I thought, and lots of monkeys. Yeah, I thought for that, the Jeep safari there was really fun. One of the things was the water was clean. That was a real big one. I just, you know, when we think of the Ganges River, we always think of it like from below Hardwar and Rishikesh or down in central India, where the water really is very, very dirty and polluted. But up there where it's so clean in the mountains, it was really a shock to me.
We got no more sins. We got to start over.
We got sin-free. So you can stop being naughty again now when you go home.
That's why we're going out tonight.
The one thing I would say is that a lot of people, when they see the white water, it makes them worried a little bit, but they have to understand that when you paddle inflatables like we do, that they're very forgiving, that they bend over the waves. They're extremely hard to tip over, so you get like this exciting ride down these rapids, and it only takes beginning to beginning intermediate skill level to do that.
I want to point out 2 things to you. This thing that you see here is a hole. Okay? We'll talk about how holes are formed. This is small enough to hit. This is a small hole. Yeah? This is okay. I mean, it's not going to mess us up. What you see, you know, that bit of white water coming back, we call it a recycle. Here it's fine. It's got a lot of flush through, so if somebody gets caught, it's going to flush you down easily, no problems at all. Okay? But there are other nasty ones, bigger ones. When you hit them, because the water is moving upstream, there's a rock below over there. Okay? Because the water is moving upstream, if it's big, it stops you. We call them stoppers as well. Okay?
It was really lively, the whole run. It wasn't like you had to do a lot of flat water paddling. Once you get on the river, it's pretty much going. And if you're not going through a rapids, it's still moving fast enough. So, and it was one right after another. And yeah, it's an exciting paddle. foothills of the Himalayas, and it would be rough and rugged and rocks, you know. And then when you're going down the river, all of a sudden there's these beautiful white sandy beaches there to camp on. And the food, the guides, as you know, the guides, the food on the river is better than most Indian restaurants.
Little tent city.
One of my favorite parts of all the trips is actually meeting the locals, wherever they are, or the indigenous people, whether it's Mongolia or India or Vietnam or any place. It seems to me when you get in with the local people, you see what it's really like there, not what the brochures and the pictures are like. And I always find that's a special part of every trip. I knew that there would be a lot of spirituality in India because I've read about Hinduism for quite a few years in the Bhagavad Gita, and so I'd heard about Rishikesh, and you know, that's where the Beatles went in the '70s to spend 3 months with Maharishi. But there was so much there. I mean, when we go in towns, there's sadhus, holy men everywhere, and temples, and it was more than I thought. But I really enjoyed that part of it. Or running into the holy man when we went biking that day that was 106 years old. That was, you know, and that lived in that tree for what, 80 or 90 years or something. You know, it was just amazing. And I think Hindu just has a rich spiritual culture. India is just a fascinating adventure.